Morning, everyone. My name's Kevin, and I was just having some thoughts here. I got a phone call over the weekend from a friend trying to help a friend out with his RV. They're on the road full time, and they just had kind of a fluke mishap with the trailer. Nothing major per se. I mean, nothing structurally, mechanically, nothing, big accident like that. It wasn't a fairly simple fix, but it can put people into a panic. And something I wanted to talk about for a minute was the warranty with something like this, and these folks have an aftermarket add-on to the trailer that I wanted to point out with all this stuff. Now, I've seen this my previous job I worked for. We had a customer come in, and I want to say he was in for, what did we do to that? I don't think that was a wall change. He had a punch list of things, I think. Something wrong with a slide out and some other stuff, which I want to say was covered by his factory warranty still, because he had a 2-year factory warranty at the time. So, what you kind of think about when you buy a new RV, and used isn't as big a deal because there is no factory warranty. If you buy an extended warranty and you add accessories like solar, generator, other things like that, but the coach doesn't have it when you buy it, but you add it later, you may want to inquire with the extended warranty company that, we'd like to add a generator down the road. What does this do for the warranty? Will it still cover this even though it's an aftermarket add-on after we purchase the warranty for the unit? Same thing with solar. Is anything covered by this? Does the solar affect the warranty in any way? Because again, what a lot of people don't understand is when you spend the money and buy a new coach, a brand new coach I'm talking, as soon as you modify the trailer in any way, warranties start to become affected. The manufacturers of these RVs have gotten so fussy that I heard this firsthand from another, believe it or not, it was me dealing with this. We had an issue with our trailer that when you turn the corner, and I'm not talking some sharp 90-degree jackknife corner, it was just turning out of my driveway. And then I got out midway through a turn at a corner to check this. The hitch head for my travel trailer, the hitch that goes in the receiver of the truck for your weight distribution bars and everything, because it's wider than it's just a regular drawbar, it's a lot wider for the bars to fit in. When you would turn, the head would hit the frame of the trailer right under the coupler, the ball. And that was within 1 year of ownership. So, thank you, guy. So, within that 1 year of ownership of our coach, and we had a 2-year warranty, we were still within a factory warranty still. It had actually bent the metal. The square tubes were open, and it had bent it and torn it back partway on the tube, like my little diagram there. And so I was concerned, because I was still fairly new in the industry, that's a lot of stress right there on that coupler. That tear, because it was right along the bottom edge of the tube, straight, that it could continue to tear, and we would lose our trailer and travel and have an accident or something like that. So I raised a bit of a stink, called my dealer, who asked me to bring it in. So I did. I wasn't thinking at the time. So all the way in, all the way back, even took it camping. Wound up taking it back to the manufacturer, and because I'd been talking with them and everything about it, told them that the dealer just wants to bend it back and weld it, which really wasn't appealing to me. Coach, it's only a year old, and this is kind of what we got, and that's kind of the fix, and it's under warranty, and why would I want something patched like that? So the manufacturer and I were discussing it, and they wound up putting a whole new tongue on the trailer, and a whole new A-frame, the whole thing, not just that little piece. I mean, right under the front cross member, out to the main I-beams, and if you crawl under the camper and look, you can never tell it's been changed. I've been under there. Trust me. It looks the same as the day I bought the camper. And I was under it when I bought it. While we were waiting for the financing paperwork and everything to get ready in the office, I was outside crawling under the trailer. I am a nerd. So, or a geek, whatever you want to call it. So, me and the guy were talking, and he said, technically, anytime you modify the frame, that voids your warranty. Well, back then, at the time, we had a hitch that had, it's called a dual cam, high performance dual cam. Look it up, they're out there. And what that did is that had 2 bolt holes on each side of the tongue, right about where the propane bottles are at the bottom of the frame. So they were back a ways from that tear, probably a good 2 to 3 foot. And he said, technically, in theory, bolting that stuff to the frame modifies the frame, therefore the warranty is technically should be void. So I should have no warranty on the frame the day I bought the trailer. Flip side is, you got to have hitch equipment to tow the trailer. So what do you do? And I don't have an answer for that. I really don't. It ticks me off that a frame manufacturer would be that way. You know, you buy these things, and the vehicles you buy are, you know, a Tahoe, a Suburban, a pickup truck, Expedition, Explorer, whatever. You know, I mean, vehicles can pull these campers, but you need the weight distribution hitch to be safe. So why would you do that? That's how ridiculous some of the warranties are. A lot of people don't know this, but if you installed solar on your roof of your trailer, your factory warranty is over on your roof. It's done. If you add anything that pokes a hole in that roof, it's over. You know, things like swapping out a roof vent, just a standard vent, no fan, and putting one in with a fan, doesn't necessarily void the roof warranty, and it really doesn't hurt anything. But if you came back to the dealer and you did it yourself, you came back to the dealer or the manufacturer and said, well, my roof's leaking, this is that, and we were to treat, you know, not that we would want to just pin it on you, but if the culprit was the vent you just replaced because of not sealing it properly or something like that, or maybe you over tightened the screws and it cracked, letting water in, technically that should be on your problem. Most of the time, from what I've seen, people are sympathetic to that fact and will fix it anyways. But these folks had a situation where they got where they were going. They were dry camping, and they have solar. Excuse me. And they went to set up the trailer, and the jacks, the automatic leveling system, kind of worked, but it didn't work. So he canceled the auto level system and just manually leveled the trailer. After he was done, he went to run out the slides, and the bedroom slide went out, which was one of those in-wall systems. But the 2 hydraulic slides in the living room and kitchen wouldn't work at all. Nothing. So they called me, and it's a brand that I'm familiar with, and we're going through things, and everything that I ran into when this happens was fine. Fuses were fine, the breakers were fine. It doesn't have very many mini breakers. And as we kept progressing through this, it turned out that the pump wasn't doing anything. Now the jacks weren't working, only to find out that the battery voltage was too low for the pump to do anything. And with LED lights these days, you can't tell by looking at your lights. So you have to go by that stupid little 4-dial reader on your monitor panel, although like this one here has a digital readout that tells you the exact voltage. It turned out to be, I think he said they had, I don't know, 6 or 8 maybe, lithium-ion batteries in the pass-through compartment, which again is a modification to the trailer. And what turns out to be is because of that, the batteries would have been in the front compartment. This is a fifth wheel, in the front compartment between the truck and the trailer, the one that's underneath what we call the gooseneck or the upper deck, or whatever you want to call it. Usually where the generators would go to. And standard that coach came with a spot for 2 batteries. And obviously, excuse me, and obviously, you know, if you're putting 6 to 8 batteries in an area that only holds 2, you need to find another home for them. So they're in the pass-through compartment, which is the main storage compartment between the front and the entry door. And with all that, you know, there's a lot of things like disconnect switches, inverters. You've got your, I'm trying to think, your charge controllers usually inside the interior of the coach. Bus bars and shunts and all that stuff are somewhere in that neck of the woods, and it's better to be that way because it's closer to the power system for the trailer. Shorter on a wire, the better the system's supposed to work. Less amp, I think that's to say that right. I think it's less amp drop on a shorter run of wire. So the culprit to the problem happened to be a loose connection at the disconnect switch. Now, if you're an average RVer and you use your camper and you dry camp and you take it somewhere and you have problems with it, but you kind of muster through the weekend or week, whatever you're doing, you come home, you make an appointment with your dealer, you take it in, and you tell them, hey, jacks don't want to work right, this don't want to work right, that don't, it doesn't want to. In fact, his wasn't even charging quite properly either. It was showing 13 volts when he had the generator plugged into it running, but it wasn't enough to, you know, run the rooms or the jacks. So it was kind of a weak charge too. I think it was like 12.8 or something like that. And in theory, you should be somewhere between, 12.8 is probably the very low side that says it is charging. But you want to be, you know, 14 volts or under, a little under 14, like 13.8 is kind of what we like to see. And I'm okay with like 13, you know, as a bottom number, 13.2. And one of these days I should probably show you guys how to check your converter, to make sure that your converter is putting out a charge to charge your battery. So with all that, if you took it into a dealer and they didn't install, or dealer or your factory service center, and they didn't install that factory, the solar stuff, now there's a prep and there's actually solar. And the prep is not set up for these solar systems that have panels and inverters and all this other stuff. None of these prep things are, you know, really intended for that. Their intention is a few panels on the roof, you know, a couple batteries already in the, you know, the battery bay where they're supposed to be, and that's within factory specs. So if something was to happen with that and you used all the factory stuff, then yeah, the factory warranty should be in effect. Even if it was prepped for it and you added it later, that should still be all good if it was done by a professional. So with all that being done, if you take your coach in for service and you tell them that here's the problem, blah, 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 you know, we don't know what's going on, and they take it in, but they didn't install that battery steel, that solar setup and everything, so it's probably very foreign to them. Two things are going to happen. One, they're going to they're going to document that you added 6 batteries that are not in the battery bay, that are in a pass-through storage compartment, which manufacturers frown on. You know, these new lithium batteries, you don't have to have have them in a battery compartment vented. A lot of these new ones, it doesn't matter. You have them sideways, upside down, right side up, doesn't matter. But so the dealer or manufacturer can diagnose up to what you've added. So if you've moved the batteries from the front storage compartment to the front pass-through, which is probably about 5 feet, you know, 5 to maybe 5 to 8 feet back, that can void that part. It can void the warranty altogether, because you've actually changed the electrical system in a sense, because they don't know what the other guy did, how he hooked it up, why he hooked it up that way. There's no schematic for it. It's just kind of whatever was in his head. Now, if you're an electrical guru, like some of my friends that I know that do this stuff, who cares? Just do what you want, do what you got to do. You should be able to fix and diagnose your own stuff. However, my thought process for this video was just that anybody that's not an electrical guru that wants these things added to their coach needs to understand that once the warranty, the factory warranty, you know, this kicks in, or you do this sort of thing, you're still within your factory warranty, you just bought that big baby, and you're kind of stuck with whatever problem it is if you caused it, or that system was the cause of it. So, and I'm not just talking solar, I'm talking bike racks on the back, adding some of the travel trailers and stuff. I used to get this all the time. People want to put they made a clamp-on hitch receiver that would clamp to your bumper, so you could put your bike rack on the back of the coach and run down the road. You need to read the fine print, because the bumper, unless they've designed it for this, and a lot of times they'll have a hitch underneath it, the bumper is not designed to carry anything except a spare tire. That's it. Bikes hang out too far beyond the trailer. And when you put bicycles on there, little kids' bikes probably isn't that big a deal. But, a couple adult bikes or a couple kids' bikes, that's a lot of weight. Now, as you go down the road, you got a truck passing, hang on. There we go, thank you. As you go down the road, the back end of the camper hops up and down, and when it does that, those bikes are like a torque wrench in a sense, not in a good way, but in a bad way. It's constantly torquing on that bumper and can tear it clear off the frame. That can be added into the equation. If you want to have that done, your dealer can fix it. And the one dealer I worked for used to do it, and we never had a problem. However, we modified the frame. So if the manufacturer ever come back and there was a problem with it, not the bumper but something else, and they'd seen this, if there's a problem at the front of the trailer, excuse me, and this is at the back of the trailer, that can very much affect your warranty. So I used to tell people all the time, just wait for the warranty to expire. Once it's gone, do what you want. Things like your roof, you got 10 to 12 years on a roof, so not a lot of people want to wait 10 to 12 years to do that. But you need to be very much aware that you're going to put that stuff on there, and solar panels and everything else, you own that 100%. You have to maintain that. You need to install it properly. And I don't mean the electrical stuff, just electrical. I'm talking mounting it to the roof. A lot of people put Dicor, I've seen, down on the roof, and then they put their mounting bracket down there and they screw it in. Not exactly what I consider sealed. That's like, some of these manufacturers are lazy. They'll slap a part on a coach, put anything behind it, seal it around the outside with some kind of a caulking, and call it good. And then in about a year, when the caulking splits due to sitting on a lot or the customer not knowing or bothering to maintain these seals, it starts leaking. And then after a year to 2 years of it leaking, you've got wall damage, wall damage, rot, mildew, all kinds of other things, and everybody's raising hell. Properly would be putty tape or butyl tape. Putty tape's actually better underneath parts that are on rubber. Butyl tape's for parts being mounted to fiberglass sidewalls or fiberglass roofs. So, to be honest with you, if you're gonna do things, question your dealer, ask them how to go about installing something. If you're handy enough to do the install yourself, ask them how to do it. How would you mount this part to the roof? What kind of sealants would you use? Be mindful of different sealants for roofs. There's two different kinds. There's Alpha Seal and there's Dicor. Dicor does not stick to Alpha. Alpha sticks to anything. My preference is an Alpha sealant because it's self-leveling, which so is the Dicor, but it's thicker. So you may use more to seal what you're adding, but it's not watered down thin like the Dicor stuff is. It used to be thicker. When you lay it out on whatever you're sealing, you'll actually see the screw head clear as day. You'll be able to make out the little cross for if it's a Phillips, or the indentation very clearly if it's a square head. Whereas with the Alpha Seal, when you cover the screw, it's just a bump, and that's it. You can't make out any details of it. So that's kind of what this was kind of for. Before you go modifying your coach, even at the time of purchase, question the dealer on a new coach, especially. On a new coach, question, what does this do if we add this to the coach? What does this do to the warranty of the roof? What does this do to the warranty of the frame, of the coach overall? The bumper-to-bumper warranty for 1 or 2 years. Or some manufacturers offer you a 3-year structural warranty. So if they offer that, question that structurally. What does this do? If they say nothing, get something in writing. Make sure it's written down somewhere on your contract. This does not affect the structural warranty. This does not affect the roof warranty. This does not affect chassis warranty. So if something does go wrong, at least you kind of got your butt covered a little bit. You know, if things had to go legal or something, maybe you would have a little bit of backup. I'm not a lawyer, obviously, so I mean, this is just advice to ask. These are questions that I ask when I do things anymore, because there is so many legal things out there with people. So on a used coach or an extended warranty, if you buy a used coach and you purchase an extended warranty, or you have a new coach you purchase extended warranty, question the same things. What does this do to the extended warranty? Does this void out this part of the warranty? Does it void the warranty overall? If I add these accessories to the trailer, are they then covered still by the warranty because they weren't on it when I purchased the warranty? You know, I mean, it's not like the warranty company gets an inventory of what the coach has. It's just, you know, things that you should ask, especially if you're very green to this. If you've never owned an RV and you're going for your first one, I think it's a smart idea. So I hope that this is useful for somebody. It's not picking on anybody or anything specifically, but just thoughts that I get, you know, thinking about things that transpire and things that I see day to day. One manufacturer I worked for at one time in service, they had seen, I was impressed, the guy had a real nice solar setup on his roof. A few things are a little bit not quite what I would consider neat. Use extension cords and cut the ends off for running wires and stuff, which, I mean it's probably fine, but it's not my cup of tea. I'd rather have things cleaner than that. But it was in his pass-through compartment with a nice battery rack and everything. The head honchos upstairs were taking pictures of it and taking pictures of his roof and everything like that, because they knew that the guy would come back at some point in his ownership of that coach and gripe about a leak or an electrical problem, and they wanted to have their guard up so that when he called complaining, they could deny him coverage, because he had modified the electrical system, he had modified the roof, and therefore it would not be their problem. So again, those are the couple things that I think that people need to think about before you start modifying your coach. Like I said, the hitch stuff, you got to have it. It's very seldom, I think, that you actually hear of a chassis problem on a travel trailer. Fifth wheels, there's not a lot that you can add to the frame that will hurt things. So, but anyways, so like I've been saying before, stay safe, keep the rubber on the road, focus on the destination ahead, not the troubles you left behind. Have a good day.